You are viewing Issues and Answers on the WCEG Network. That's us. And I am your host, Norman A. Carter Jr. And as always, my goal is to enlighten your perspectives about our environment, our socio-political struggles, and those banes of classisms and racism that make all of our lives a little bit more difficult than they really should be. In so doing, we hope to bring us all together in a human tapestry of brotherhood and sisterhood, bound together by threads of understanding, respect, and tolerance of our physical, racial, and religious differences. And hopefully, we can have a discussion based on facts, not fiction, that will encourage us all to think critically and not emotionally. If you're currently watching, man, I thank you. Inform your neighbors and friends and associates that we can be viewed live via YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Ooh, is that Twitter is X now, I think. Instagram and over streaming devices such as Roku. Our podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, and GeoSavan, India platforms. All of our platforms, our programs, are archived on YouTube and can be viewed by anyone at any time. And let me just say before I get started, Happy New Year to everybody, especially to all my longtime WCEG Issues and Answers listeners. We are just here and we're going to have some fun today. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about eats, goodies, and please understand the topics and opinions of Issues and Answers are those of the host and my guest host, Mr. Richard Williams, today, and not the WCEG Network. And by the way, folks, we ain't getting paid by nobody to say nothing. So don't think that we're doing a commercial for the places. Uh, but today I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Richard Williams. Very briefly, Mr. Williams, we met, was it last year or sometime? Um, he's a world traveler. He's got some interesting world stories. We'll probably get into that later on. Um, he's a bon vivant, loves life, and he's a connoisseur of both comfort foods and those foods we call like a little classy. He's into all of that, probably a little bit more than me. And we're just going to talk about places. He's coming to us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my home city. Welcome, Richard. Welcome to Issues and Answers.
Hello, Norman. How are you? And hello to the audience out there. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey now. Hey now. Richard and I got to talking, I guess it's several months ago about a lot of different stuff. Uh, he really had me cracking up about a lot of things in his world travels. But the one thing we got kind of stuck on was talking about um, different foods, different restaurants, especially in Philly, Philly has always had a wide variety of cultural cuisines, whatever you want, all over the city. You could always find something somewhere. And I've kind of missed that. And so we were talking about that and some of my favorite places and some of his favorite places. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got some places here in Georgia that that I really like. And I think that most of what we're talking about are not chain establishments. Would I be correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. See there? See, we're talking about those little independent places that go out of their way to do a real good job for their customers. But Richard, help me out here.
Okay.
Give me one of your favorite eateries and why.
One of my favorite places to eat, I work in Center City, Philadelphia. And one of my favorite places to eat is Joe's Pizza.
Okay, now.
Now, Joe's Pizza is on 16th Street between Sampson and Chestnut. And it's mom and pop organization. and they have some of the best pizza, but it's not a New York thin style pizza,
Mm.
nor is it a Chicago pan pizza. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
They use really good quality mozzarella. When it cooks, you get a nice pull on it, which is what you want when you eat some pizza.
Right.
You don't want the cheese just to sit there like a brick. So, and what sets it apart is the ingredients. I had the other day I had a buffalo chicken
All right.
pizza. Now the buffalo chicken pizza has the buffalo sauce, nice cuts of chicken, usually chicken breast,
Hmm.
and it was really a juicy, juicy, juicy chicken on this pizza. And it may have been one of the best buffalo chickens I've had in a while. Because
Wow.
when it comes to pizza, there are two schools of thought. There are some people who like that scorched bottom. I'm not a fan of that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you feel about it, Norman.
Well, I'm thinking because you reminded me of a place that's here that I just found out in the past year, Fratelli's Pizza, which is out here in Grayson, Snellville. They feature the New York style pizza, and which I had not experienced before, and pretty darn good. One thing about it is because I have been going to uh, Philly pizza places, and places here are like different, but uh, I have been going to like the regular big chain places, and getting a large pizza. Well, when you go to Fratelli's and you get a large pizza, you get a really large pizza. I'm
Okay.
telling you, you get a really large pizza. Ingredients are superb. Uh, really, really, really superb. Um, every place that I've gotten a great pizza in Philly, my best pizzas have never been at the chain places.
No.
Your Pizza Huts and places like that. But 16th Street, yeah.
16th Street, right between Walnut and Chestnut.
Do they
And
still have? They still have that jazz club right there in the 1500 block of Walnut?
absolutely, Chris's Jazz Cafe.
Yes, yes, yes. One of my
That's still
favorite
there.
spots. Oh wow, wow.
It's still there. But this
Yeah.
buffalo chicken cheesesteak, this buffalo chicken pizza, I mean,
Hmm.
is really, really special. And the main thing about the pizza, Joe's, is most of the time, the pizza at the bottom is a nice golden brown,
All
which
right
is
now.
what I want. Where it's not doughy, you don't
Hmm.
want it where it tastes like it's not cooked all the way,
Right,
but it's
right,
not
right.
burnt either.
Well, that's. Didn't you mention? Is that the place you talked about on Facebook like about a week or so ago? A couple of weeks ago?
Yes, that I was
Okay.
actually talking about that particular pizza,
Okay. All right. Okay.
and I was
Yeah.
shocked because I got it on a lark, and man, oh man, was this thing delicious!
Wow.
Absolutely delicious.
Wow. See there? That's what I'm talking about.
And they
Uh,
also have a very good pepperoni.
hmm.
And pepperoni is very good. It's a nice quality pepperoni, and the
Okay.
sausage is good there too. And the sausage is more like the crumble style sausage, you
Hmm.
would say.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really good. It's good sausage, nice and savory.
When you did that write up on Facebook, I said that has to be one of the places that I stop on my next visit. And since I hate to drive downtown, you're right off and get the subway and get off of Chestnut Street.
That's right. No, you don't drive
Yeah.
it. If
Yeah.
you're coming from west, take the L. If you're coming from north or south, take the Broad Street subway. Make your life simple.
Well, I hate to get off on another subject here, but because we're talking about food,
Yes.
but the one thing uh, that was surprising to me coming from Philly down here to Georgia was the total lack of poor quality public transportation. In Philly, you can get to anywhere, any time of the day or night on public transportation. Here, like in Atlanta, if you depend on public transportation, you cannot work on a job that lets you off after 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night because everything stops. Everything stops. And it's just awful. But let's go back to food.
Well, now
Back to
Philadelphia is good in that, but it's funny you bring that up because Philadelphia, that's one of the things that makes Philadelphia a world-class city because we have a system that runs late at night.
yeah,
You can hop on
yeah.
a bus. If you get off work at midnight, now the bus may not run so fast or
Oh
frequent,
yeah, sure.
but if you know the schedule, you can still get home without having to take an Uber.
Yeah. And I thought about you the other day. You were at the Eagles game and that mad rush. um, because now how far is that a good walk now from the stadium to what is it still Broad and Patterson?
It's about from the Broad Street subway, it's probably about because the link is about 11th Street. So you're talking a nice 3 or 4 block walk.
Okay. Okay. I haven't been to the link yet. Uh, when I left Philly, it was the Spectrum and Vet Stadium.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it. But I go back to Connie Mack Stadium, so I kind of date myself.
Okay. A little Lehigh Avenue
uh,
action.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. They had to move that out. I mean, that was wrong. We're getting
Well,
beyond
I'll tell
food
you
here.
this. It's funny you bring up Lehigh Avenue
Go
because
ahead.
that brings it back to another wonderful pizza place. It's a place called Down North Pizza. It's on,
Mhm.
I believe, 26, like 24th and Lehigh. Now
Yeah,
they actually do a Detroit style pizza,
I've heard of that. Okay.
and it's a square pizza,
Hmm.
a little thicker. It's not like a Sicilian, but it's
Yeah.
still square. And what makes Down North very interesting is they use people for their cooks and their staff that have been in the system. They're not shy about people who've been incarcerated,
Oh,
who are trying to improve their life, trying to show the world that they are reformed.
that leads into was it next month? I'm going to do a program about that. So that's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, Down North
But
Pizza, not only is the pizza yummy, but they have a nice social mission.
God, yep, yep, amazing. Since we're talking about fast foods, we're getting some other stuff, not fast food, but this is what you and I talked about, I think, last week. And this will be of interest to everybody everywhere. Geno's, Pat's, or somewhere else. Everybody, every TV commercial, a TV game, people come to Philly. They always talk about Geno's. They talk about Pat's. Lately, they've been talking about Dallas Sanders, which is up in Roxborough, which I really like, but for cheesesteaks. But
Yes.
I think people who are not from Philly are under the misconception that the best steaks and cheesesteaks come from Geno's and Pat's. I think you and I differ.
Well, I mean, listen, here's the deal with that. Because of the exposure that those two brands have had, Oprah going down there and people go there on food channels. Everybody's talking about
Yeah.
Pat's and Geno's. They're the
Mm-hmm.
best cheesesteaks. Now, Pat's may be the oldest, but it's certainly, I won't say it's the best.
No.
And what I do, my philosophy when people come, I have learned from experience. I will take them to the corner. We'll go down 9th Street and let's take a picture. You can say
There
you
you
were
go.
there.
Yeah, that's it.
And we are absolutely not buying a cheesesteak there.
Well, I remember my first experience of getting a cheesesteak from Pat's. And when I saw the guy put cheese whiz, I went, oh no, cheese whiz on a steak. Ugh. No, not the way
Not
to
my
go.
choice of cheese either.
Not the way to go. Not the way to go. We talked about another place, and I, man, we'll talk about some places down here pretty soon. But uh, one of my favorite.
Well, can I say something else? You don't
Sure,
mind
go
about
right ahead. Go ahead.
Pasagenos?
Go right.
Pasagenos. Here's the good thing about them. Let's say you can't sleep. You're
Mm-hmm.
hungry. You want a cheesesteak. The great thing about Pat's and Geno's is they stay open really, really, really late. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's an instance where you're like, I will go in there. I want a cheesesteak. It's late at night. I will go just grab a Pat's or a Geno's
Okay,
because you
that
just want
works.
a cheesesteak that bad late at night.
Yeah, sort of drown off that alcohol that you had. But wait, I'm just saying, Greece does it. Uh, since we're in the comfort food right now, um, hard to find a good deli down here in the South. A good Jewish deli, it was Jewish or Polish. They were awesome. You could find them everywhere. Now down here, not so much.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. I used my favorite used to be a place up in Chestnut Hill, uh, a delicatessen. Can't think of the name of the address. Right off of Mermaid Lane up that way. But we have a couple of down here, but they're like imitations. The closest I've gotten to a halfway decent was over in it's in Louisville, Kentucky. Can't even think of the place now. It's got an Irish name. I'll get it. I'll get it. It's like Macintosh or something like that. But they're very good. But nothing tops a good Philly or New York deli. Nothing
Absolutely.
tops it. Nothing tops it. Of course, my favorite is the Reuben. But get there in the morning, give me some lox and bagels. I'm a happy guy.
Oh yes, it's
I'm a
something like
happy guy.
there's nothing like lox and bagel is amongst my favorite.
Little capers in there. Yeah.
It's nothing like a good lox and bagel. How do you take your
You
bagel? Do you do an everything bagel, a plain bagel?
know, I think that I'm sort of a traditionalist. I like a plain bagel. Um, Even though I do like the other kind of bagels if I'm not eating one of those. But if I'm having my lox bagels and cream cheese, yeah, I just want a regular bagel. I don't want to toast it. I want a regular bagel. Yeah.
Well, you might like this place that's opened up. Philadelphia is gaining a lot of traction. It's called Kismet Bakery. They have a location on 17th Street, 17th and Samson, across from the
Mm-hmm.
Sofitel Hotel. Now, they have very good bagels. When you bite into it, you get that nice crisp when you bite it, and then it's
Right.
like nice and soft on the inside
Yeah. Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
desire, that everybody's desire. And the cream cheese is really good. And the most important part, what separates them is the quality of the lox. They do what they call like a pastrami lox, where
Oh.
they really smoke it, where it's almost like pastrami, but it's still a lox.
Okay.
So you know it's
Okay.
not pastrami,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so smoky with the cream cheese juxtaposed on it with the bagel. Oh, it's
Yeah.
a delicious thing. And then they even make it where you can kick it up a notch, and then they'll put dill pickles on it.
Ooh.
It sounds disgusting, but it's really
Yeah.
good. It's actually really really good, and I think it enhances everything. And then for all your whatever else you want on it, or you can just get the lox with the cream cheese. Sometimes I'm in the mood for the extras. Sometimes I
Mm.
just want the cream cheese bagel and pastrami lox with that
Yeah.
sensational smoky flavor.
You know, I have a funny lox story. For years and years and years, I worked around guys who talked about lox and bagels. So there was a restaurant at it's around 22nd or 23rd in Fairmount, delicatessen. This is several years ago.
Okay.
And so my coworker and I decided we wanted to go out to breakfast that morning. So we went to this delicatessen and I ordered lox, bagel, scrambled eggs, and grits, something like
Okay.
that. And so they bring the plate there, and I took my lox and I sort of chopped them up and mixed them in with the eggs. And then I took pepper, put it on there, and then I took some salt and put it on there. Oh, what a mistake. What a mistake. You don't put salt.
Your blood
Worst.
pressure probably about to go
Oh
for the
my
roof.
gosh, the worst meal I ever had. But good combination. You just don't need the salt. And that's the good part about it, is that that's salty enough for you. Um, yeah. Got my favorite, one of my favorite restaurants, so now we get away a little bit away from comfort food, was the pub in was that Cherry Hill?
It's
Pensauken?
in Pennsauken, right? Right at
Sauken.
Airport Circle.
Yeah, yeah. Pensauken. That was going there. That was the first roundabout I'd ever encountered in my entire life. Was going there, and I guess it's still there. Why would they
It's still
move
there.
it?
As a matter of fact, they
Yeah.
just renovated it.
Wow. Because the first time I did it, I probably did like many people. I just went around in this circle. Yeah, yeah. But that was a new thing. But yeah, that's one of my favorites because it gives you a combination of they got the salad bar is just a wow.
It's an
Salad bar.
amazing salad bar.
Yeah. I've never ever seen a salad bar like that, like their salad bar. Just amazing.
It is amazing. You can even
Just
get the
amazing.
anchovies there.
Yes, yes, which I don't like, but anyway, not my favorite. Not my favorite at all.
Well, the
A little
good thing
bit.
about the pub is too, they have the potatoes. You can go in
Mm,
there and get that double baked potato where they go in there and scoop the potato out of the spud,
mhm,
then they bake it, then they rebake it, and it makes for a really, 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 really good and different kind of consistency.
mhm.
Or you can get your traditional baked potato, depending on your
Okay,
mood. One day you can
right.
go and get it double baked, and the other time you can go and just get it traditional. You're not losing either way.
Yeah, my when I used to go there, I used to get uh, surf and turf, and I would go to the salad bar. And unfortunately, by the time you finish eating whatever's on the salad bar, you have very little room for whatever else that you're going to eat. You're stuffing yourself after that.
Oh, yeah. And then see, there's one more part of the puzzle at the pub, too. And that is the amazing fresh baked bread they bring out
Yeah,
before you get your meal.
yeah, yeah.
And that's another thing that can help kind of fill you up before your steak comes.
Well, that was the first place I learned not to eat too much bread before your meal because the bread is really really good, but there's not much room for anything else once you finish that and you take to the salad bar. You're done. You're
You're
done.
absolutely right.
Yeah,
And that's a shame because the steak at the pub is really good because of the fact that they're one of the places that actually has an indoor charcoal pit.
yes,
So you're getting that charcoal flavor
yes.
in your steak because most of the other places it may be flame broiled,
Hmm.
but it's not gonna have the charcoal taste. At this place at the pub, you get that whole smoky charcoal flavor,
Yeah,
almost like you're in somebody's backyard, except it's
and
inside.
as I remember correctly, unless they cut it down, place is huge.
It's
I
gigantic.
mean, it's huge. You don't feel. Uh, there's a popular restaurant not too far from here. I won't call it out, but it's a very popular seafood place, independent. But when you go in, you're basically the chairs are like right up on each other.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's I mean it's oh the food is good, It's good. Not great, but it's good. But I hate to be you're backing up. You back up and you're hitting somebody else's back. That's
Oh
not
no,
you don't have
I
that.
know exactly what you're talking about. It's not
Yeah,
comfortable at all. And that's
not
the
at
great thing
all.
about the pub. The pub has big, comfortable seats. And
Yeah.
especially for a guy like my size, I'm over 200 pounds. So I
I
don't
hear
want to
you.
be squashed in some seat that's like, oh, it's so nice and sleek and modern looking. But I almost have to, put oil on the seats to get in.
Yeah. I know just
That's
what you
no
mean.
good. I don't want that. I want to be able to go sit down and have some nice comfortability. And the place looks like a castle on the inside.
It does.
So
It does. I haven't seen a restaurant down here um, in Georgia that can compete with that as far as spaciousness. Um, Now, most of the places down here are built to get the maximum number of seats and the maximum number of seats in the smallest place.
right,
You
where
know,
this
they're
place is
yeah,
gigantic.
yeah, it is, it is. Because I remember like just walking over to the salad bar was an exercise.
and,
That's an
and
exercise.
if you're in
Yeah,
Philadelphia, one of the good things about the pub is, like, because it's in Jersey, you actually have plenty of parking.
yeah, truly, yes, yes.
So, and for people who don't live in Philadelphia, there's a lot of times where you can go to a very nice restaurant, but parking can be challenging. Or
Well,
if you're in Center City, park is going to cost you like $500,000 almost if
well,
you do a valet or something like that.
I went to a birthday party here in Atlanta. They had it at one of the nightclubs, but it was in the afternoon. But it was one of the nightclubs down in the Buckhead section of Atlanta. And the parking we were there for 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours, was like $40. $40 to
40
park.
bucks in Georgia?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, yes. Atlanta is when it comes to parking, and you're going downtown or midtown, as they call some parts of it, parking is expensive, expensive. Uh, that's one of the things that they don't talk about a lot, but parking is terrible. And of course, if you say, well, I'm going to use public transportation, I'm going to park somewhere on the outlying area and take transportation downtown, you better make sure that you get out of wherever you're going by 11 o'clock at night. You better make sure. I had a friend uh, and I would go off. I don't want to go too far off topic here, but I worked at a Midtown hotel for several years, and we hotels are uh, there's a lot of unpredictability when you're working in hotels. And there was an event that went on, and he was a steward. This was like February, and the event went on longer than it should have, and he wasn't able to get out of work until about 12:15, and he lived a good ways from where we were. He was able to get the subway to where he would catch his bus, but the buses had stopped, and by the time he got to that terminal, it might have been like 1:15, 1:30.
Right.
So this is winter time, and temperatures were below 30 degrees, and he definitely wasn't dressed for it. And he had to walk like 6 miles in the middle of the night to get home uh, because there was no public transportation. And it's one of the things that when I talk about Metro Atlanta, uh, that bothers me is that the people here, the people here who are native to this area have no idea what it's like to have a good public transportation department, and they have absolutely no idea. And it's it's that affects their ability to earn a living, which people
Absolutely.
don't realize. Uh, and it's just sad. And you know, Atlanta is a beautiful city. They have a lot going for it with the new stadiums and whatnot. But when it comes to something like that that would benefit everybody, not just your middle and low income people, but everybody, if you had a viable, reliable transportation system that's available to people throughout the night, especially your tourists coming in, where you can get on the subway and go somewhere. Um, but there's that type of thinking doesn't go on here, and it's they're missing out on an awful lot.
Well,
But
have they extended the hours on MARTA? Because I know, or does MARTA still end early
I think
as far as the trains?
they extend it a little bit on the weekends, or if there's a special event. I have something that says 11 a.m. It must be 11 p.m. Yeah, 11 p.m.,
Okay.
which is, let me tell my folks in Metro Atlanta, 11 p.m. is not a good time to end your public transportation. It's not a good time. People work, people have to get home, especially your people in the service industries, like your hospitality industries, people who work in your restaurants. Um, if they don't have a car or access to someone who drives, they're just stuck.
Yeah.
They're stuck, and it's a shame. It's a shame. I talk about that often when I worked in Atlanta. That tell the people especially who work in Atlanta, live in Atlanta, that you need to start talking to your politicians about improving your public transportation. Unlike SEPTA in Philly, they get no state subsidy. I know SEPTA gets a state subsidy. I think they get federal money also,
Right.
but Atlanta does not. So how they operate under that condition, I don't know. But anyway, that's getting beyond my food stuff. Get to, get to one thing.
Well,
Have
I don't
you?
know. It's funny
Yeah,
you talk about transit.
yeah,
I don't know if you notice. I'm also any city I go to around the world, I try to get around on public transportation and
okay.
compare different systems.
Hmm.
And like as lacking as Atlanta's may be, it's still one of the better metro systems in the South.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. I
Like
would
as
agree with
far
that.
for the South is it's downright awesome.
Well, a lot of it had to do with, and I don't want to get too deeply into that, it had to do with racism.
Right.
And I
Okay.
know, see, when I moved here, um, I moved to a little place outside called Duluth, where there was nothing at that time, no public transportation. And I found out that the people in the suburbs were afraid that the criminals from Atlanta would come out there and do their dirty work and then flee using the subways to get back. And I wish I had been here to tell folks that criminals don't travel on the subways. They
They're gonna steal somebody's car and do it.
don't travel. They don't travel on the subways. They don't use public transportation. Oh,
Well,
uh,
you have something like that going here too, though. So I don't know if you know they were trying to extend the trains to go out to King of Prussia. They had a grand
yeah.
plan,
Hmm.
and it got shot down by the people who lived in the area for
Yeah.
those same kind of concerns. People are going to
Yeah.
come from the city and rob us.
Yeah. Yeah. Those folks need a reality check. Definitely need a reality check. I wanted to move on to one other thing. And I was surprised. I was doing some research uh, today, and because I was going to ask you, had you ever been to the Pennsylvania Dutch Folk Festival? Uh, I had been there a couple of times, and it was just awesome. So before I did opened up today, I looked it up and couldn't find it. But they had the Kutztown Folk Festival, and I don't know whether it might be the same thing, but they're not having anything in 2025. I just read because of dwindling attendance. And I'm telling you, the closest I've seen to the Kutztown Folks Festival would be what we have here in Snellville. We have our food truck Fridays where people bring their food trucks and they do all sorts of stuff. But they have a lot of these what do you call them? It's a Pennsylvania Dutch pastry. I can't think of the name of it now. Oh my goodness! But anyway, they have that, and they have a lot of wide variety of stuff, and that's every Friday or one first Friday in every month during the spring and summer up until like the fall. But Kutztown Folk Festival, great place to go get some food. I don't know if there's anything else that's like that now.
Well, if you do have something like that, you have the Reading Terminal Market.
Oh, which I was going to mention because my daughter, Dana, if you're listening, she recommended because they do have the they have something called the Dutch eating place in there,
Oh my
and
goodness.
she said they had the
Awesome
best.
place.
She said they had the best turkey burgers.
Not only that, they have, Norman, let me tell you, they have a blueberry pancake special with
Oh,
turkey bacon. And by the way, turkey bacon does not taste like bacon, but that's
yes,
a whole nother subject.
right, yeah.
But the way they do their turkey bacon is it's not they bake it instead of frying it. Like they put it
Mm,
underneath, it's almost like broiled. And
okay.
it is just so delicious. It's like the best, it's really good turkey bacon. And then the pancakes that come with it. First off, is on a big plate. They give you two pancakes, and you'll say, well, this is only two pancakes. But the pancakes are probably about as big as my head.
Oh my,
They're gigantic.
that's
And, you've got to be a person of a mighty hearty appetite to go and be able to polish it off.
for people who are who travel to Philadelphia. We're talking mainly about Philadelphia and Atlanta, that region today. We're going to expand it later, but you got to stop at the Reading Terminal.
Absolutely.
Uh, the Reading Terminal. I mean, from the minute it's right down, it's right downtown. What is that?
11th and Filbert, right off of
11th and
Market.
Filbert, right off Market. You can't miss it. It's huge, and there's every little thing that you want in there. I mean, it's including my favorite that you can't get here anywhere in the South are those cinnamon buns. I'm going to talk about those cinnamon buns. Is that Philly? You guys take it for granted. You cannot get cinnamon buns with raisins. You know how you get that little
Yes.
square? You can't get that down here anywhere.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you're talking that, there's a place that's right down the stall from the Dutch eating place. It's called Byler's.
Been
So,
there.
right. So as you know, Byler's on one side is the donuts, and on the
Okay.
other side is the rest of the baked goods.
Yes.
So you go in there, and they consistently are churning out the cinnamon buns. It's like consistent. And they're
Yes.
hot, and you can get it because everybody doesn't like raisins. So they'll make some without raisins. Then they'll
Mm-hmm.
make some with the raisins. They'll make some with walnuts. Then
Oh,
you can get the ultimate walnuts and raisins
oh
hot.
my. Yeah. Oh
And
my.
it's so
Woo.
good. And it's full of, and then
Mm.
on top of it is that syrup that's on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used
Please
to
use a
work.
fork.
Now I used to work at a bakery.
Okay.
And the only place that had cinnamon buns comparable was a bakery that used to be on 55th and Thomas, where I worked, called Mathis Bakery, 2 blocks south of
Mm,
Baltimore Avenue.
okay. Okay.
And they had been in business from the 40s, originally by a man named John Mathis
Mm-hmm.
and his wife Margaret. And then when I worked there, I was working under Barbara Mathis, and so I learned my way around a cinnamon bun. So
Mhm.
I'm a really critic because I know how they're made, and I've actually seen the raisins rolled in, and so when I go to the Reading Terminal, the Bilers, I get that wonderful sensation,
Oh, the smell.
the smell.
Oh,
It's a sensory
yeah.
overload.
Yes.
And then once you bite into it, and if you get it when it's nice and warm with the
Mm.
cinnamon and then the raisins, and for me with the walnuts, so you're getting the crunch, the softness, the warmth. It's made with love. It's just great.
As you can tell, folks, he loves food. But I do too. And I tell you, maybe it's fortunate. When I was a young kid, I had a paper route.
Yes.
And on my way, I stirred papers around the area of Broad to 21st, Fairmount to Spring Garden. That was my paper route. And on my way home on Sundays, I would stop at this bakery. I think it was on, I can't think of the name of that street now. But anyway, I would stop at this bakery and I would get a dozen cinnamon buns. And those would be just for me. Wouldn't swear, wouldn't say, you take those bad boys and you slap them with some butter on them and let them sit in the oven to get a little warm.
Hmm.
Come out and cut them. Oh man, that was good eating. I should look forward to Sundays and spending my little, I think at that time, the they must have cost about 75 cents. Don't try that now.
Oh no, no, no! You're spending now.
Yes.
You're
But
spending
yeah,
now.
yeah, the Philly cinnamon buns and uh, soft pretzels. Um, now, my daughter told me that the best soft pretzels in Philly, you get them from Miller's Twist. They're in the Reading Terminal.
Yes.
Um, but it's like Philly soft pretzels. The best are in Philly. I will tell you that, folks, if you don't know. But uh, at the we had the food truck Friday here in Snellville, which they have uh, on Fridays here once it gets warmer.
Okay.
And there was a big truck, and it said Dolphins Philly style Italian water ice. And I've had so much bad luck with anything that says Philly style anything that the best way for me not to patronize you is to put Philly style on because uh, it's just awful. Nobody knows how to make a Philly cheesesteak the way they make them in Philly. And so I look at when it says Philly Italian style water ice. I looked at this truck for, I guess, for several weeks that it was there. I
Okay.
just ignored it. But this time, it's a hot day. I decided, okay, I'm gonna give him a try. And the owner, I found out, was actually from Philly.
Okay.
He
Cool.
he grew up around 50, 55th and Thomas, somewhere in that area.
55th and Thomas. That's where
Yeah,
I grew up at.
I know. Well, this is where he grew up. And we got into a good conversation about Philly and I used to actually work in that area. And his Italian water ice was the real thing.
Oh wow.
It was the real deal. In fact, I got something that I never hadn't had in years. I got that head freeze that you get when you
Oh. Oh, they can be vicious.
yeah, I got the head freeze, man. And but that was so good. So good. And it was reminiscent of exactly what I got in Philly. Like if you go down to South Philly or any place that says Italian water ice, there's some places that are better than others.
Absolutely.
Because originally I'm from North Philly, man. We used to had a truck come around. with this called snow cones, where they actually scrape the ice
Right,
and they put the syrup on top of the ice. Yeah, what was that about nickel? Yeah,
right.
those days. Woo.
But it's nothing
But
like a
anyway,
good Philly. It's nothing like a good actual Philly style water ice.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that it's dolphins. For those of you who are in this area, just come to Snellville's food truck Friday once we start back up, and he'll be there and give them a shot. They're really good. Uh, we talked about bakery. I forgot to mention brown sugar, which we have here in Grayson. Absolutely fantastic. I just but there's slices of there because you can get slices of cake, but their slices are so big I can't eat them in all in one setting. I can't eat that in one setting. You got to eat. I cut it in half and eat a little bit now and then a little bit later.
What's the big
Really
flavor over there for the cake? Because I'm a cake loving guy.
well. See, I usually get chocolate because my wife likes chocolate, so we'll get that.
We're
But
talking chocolate cake, chocolate icing, or yellow cake,
yeah,
chocolate icing.
no chocolate cake, chocolate icing.
Okay,
But when it comes to chocolate cake, gotta say my favorite is German chocolate cake.
okay.
Always be my favorite. I didn't get that until maybe in the past 10 or 15 years, due to my working at a hotel here in Midtown Atlanta, and
Okay.
we had a chef who was from Austria, and he he looked forward to making his German chocolate cake, and yeah, I couldn't wait for those days when he would make it because I'd make sure I get a slice. That's really, really good stuff. But kind of takes its toll on the old belly.
Well, this is true. This is true. You'll have to go and do a little sit up or so.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been talking a lot about comfort food, and uh, if you had to pick a restaurant before we close out here, we got still have some time. Just like to talk about your favorite actual restaurant, other than the pub. We talked about the pub. I know I'm putting
there's
you on the
a
spot.
there's a new place that opened actually on 52nd and Larchwood, and it's called Toast.
Southwest Philly, y'all.
And it's right across from Malcolm X Park.
Okay.
And I had some French toast that was absolutely unbelievable there. Unbelievable. And then
Well,
they do things, they'll do like all sorts of different concoctions. And it's really, really, really good stuff.
now
And it's
when it comes to French toast, now my daughter told me that the Fitzwater Cafe uh has the best French toast, her opinion.
okay.
And that's at 728 South 17th. So that's like 17th and Bainbridge, 17th and Catherine, somewhere around there.
Okay.
700 South. Yeah, 500 South is South Street. So we're talking about Catherine or Christian, I guess, something somewhere around there.
Well, I like to put that on the list because I've never been there.
Yeah. The Fitzwater Cafe. Yeah. She gets around. But
So,
this daughter has been, she's another one. My kids have been all over the world because she spent a lot of time in Dubai uh, teaching,
I
and
see.
but she's been, I guess, all over Europe. In fact, I think except for one, all my children have been like all over Europe. Um, I get the stories, and I know we're going to get on some future program talk about your travels because you had me cracking up about some of the stuff that you talked about that you encountered in your travels, and I think that would be a lot of interest to our public because uh, a lot of folks that are that part of our audience a lot of them travel or aspire to travel to certain places. Um, for one reason or another, I haven't gone across the pond, as they say.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a wonderful experience.
yeah, yeah. Haven't gone across the pond. Um, I just can't imagine sleeping crossing the Atlantic, crossing the Pacific. Um, yeah, not my last flight, but the flight before that was an adventure. We had a flight on the what was that? It's the Boeing plane that had the problems and they had to ground it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was on one of those planes and we were flying into Baltimore, and the plane ran into turbulence, and the plane couldn't land, and we wound up riding. We rode in a circle uh, somewhere between the Chesapeake Bay and huge circle. You know where 3 Mile Island is?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I could see the 3 Mile Island towers, but at some point I thought we were going to crash into the river. It took us, I mean, into the ocean. It took us about 45 minutes to land. That's how
Oh,
long we
wow.
rode around. We went in a circle, and on this plane that had so many problems, and you just everybody was. It's funny. Everybody was silent on that plane. It wasn't a conversation. It wasn't a
I bet.
whisper uh, until that plane touched down. Yeah, when the plane shut down, there was a big round of applause.
I can imagine. If you didn't
Huge
have to
round.
have your seatbelts on, you probably would have gave a standing ovation.
Exactly, exactly. Man, this has been fun. Um, just wanted to. I know what you got into. You were talking about the place of Toast on Larchwood. Could you like? Uh,
And there's another place that's
mhm.
a really good one, and it's called Simply Good Food. Now,
Mm,
Simply Good Food is on 58th and Woodland.
out where I used to work.
Yeah, it's right
I
across
worked
the
out there.
street. So you have the gas station on one side, there's a Chinese store on the other side, there's the Save a Lot on the other corner, and then on the other corner, and it looks like a hole in the wall, but they have some of the best food you will ever have. And it's
Mm,
called Simply Good Food. Now, for people who are longtime residents or people who may have lived in from Atlanta who lived in Philly before, it used to go by the name of Southern Cafe, and then they changed it to Simply Good Food. And the pedigree they have is the people who used to own the Broadway diner that was on 52nd Street way back in the
mm,
day is these
okay.
same guys. And the woman, Missy, she runs a really nice ship. She's very, very nice. It's a friendly staff there. And man,
Mm.
they make the best salmon cakes in the city of Philadelphia. You'll get
Oh
some
wow.
salmon cakes and grit.
Mm.
And it's really good and is at a reasonable price. And if
Well,
you're really hungry, you can
mhm,
get the Big Calvin. So the Big Calvin special over there is
mhm.
$16. You get turkey scrapple. And this is one of those few times when you're talking turkey scrapple where I actually like the turkey variation better than the pork variation.
Oh wow. I
That's
was
how
gonna
good they make this turkey scrapple at this place.
I was gonna mention Scrapple because as you were going along because I used to like I think it was called it does they just closed a couple of years ago. The Oak Lane Diner on Broad Street. I think it's at Broad and was it Broad and Godfrey?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, like not far from where the police station was.
Yes, up north of the police station.
Right,
Yeah.
right, past Stenton
They
Avenue.
yes, they make some awesome scrapple. Those of you who down south uh, may not know about scrapple. You may have heard about it, but there's something down here similar. It's called Oh, I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, uh, nothing beats. They don't sell it scrapple down here at too many places. I think it's because people don't know how to cook scrapple.
The
You
only
know,
place I know that you can get scrapple at would be either Philadelphia or parts of Maryland.
yes, yes, yes,
But in Maryland, they call it something different. But I
yeah,
cannot remember what the name of what they
yeah,
call it in Maryland.
yeah. It's probably what they call it down south too. It's a oh man. As soon as I get off this program, I'll think about it. I'll think of it. But
But this
but
big
yeah.
Calvin, Norman,
Mhm.
you get turkey scrapple, turkey bacon, turkey sausage, plus your
Ooh,
pancakes, grits, and a piece of fish, and a salmon cake.
ooh, ooh. That sounds
And if
like a
you
meal.
and if you eat eggs, they have eggs too.
That sounds like a meal for two.
So, there was a challenge. People were like, is this guy gonna really eat all of this?
Yeah,
I ate
yeah, yeah,
I ate the
yeah.
whole thing.
That's where you get some of
Except the
those.
eggs.
You get
Because
some.
there's one thing, and everybody who knows me in Philadelphia knows Rich Williams, aka Rick Money, does not eat eggs. I eat
Oh
nobody's
wow!
breakfast eggs.
Oh wow! I love eggs. I love eggs. But I think that when I go out to eat with friends, I say very few order eggs, but I do. Uh, Hard to get. You have to be careful because a lot of places will give you powdered eggs and not real eggs, and that's reminds me too much of the army. But anyway,
I've heard that complaint from
yeah,
some of my egg eating friends.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to be careful because you will get powdered eggs, and I mean powdered eggs. Yeah, not good, not good, not good at all. Well, this has been fun, Richard. This is our first time getting together. This is for those of you who don't know. This was totally unscripted. We just let it fly. Uh, but Richard has a lot more world experience than just food. As I said, we talked, and his expertise encompasses so many different things that. And he's an Eagles fan, which
E A G
yeah.
L E S Eagles.
I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm also a Falcons fan down here. But I have to cheer the Eagles on right now because our Falcons sort of fade into the background. We're into the maybe next year now. But uh, but we will talk about in the future. Uh, we have some other topics that we're really going to get into. Uh, it's all about having fun, travel, and entertainment. I guess to some extent we may talk about that. I'd like to get. I got his book here, but someone affiliated with WCEG who's very astute in the entertainment field. We'll get him on here in our program here very soon. But Rich, it's just been great talking to you. Any parting words for our friends in Philadelphia and Atlanta?
Listen, I just say enjoy life, enjoy food, and
There we go.
enjoy my man, Mr. Norman Carter, and issues and answers.
All right. I think I can't close out any better than that. That was that was really good. Uh, but again, look forward to reaching out, engaging again with you, the listeners here at WCEG Talk Radio on Issues and Answers. This has been fun, and we're going to do this again because I really, 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 really like it, and we like to get more of your input, which we hope to get um, on future programming. But for now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'll see you in 2 weeks on that February 27th, January 27th. I'll see you right here on WCEG Talk Radio. Thank you. Peace. Take care of yourself. And once again, Happy New Year. Mm-mm. Let's see. I don't know, Miss Rogers. I don't know whether she's listening. Let me see.
Hey, ma'am, do you want the number for the facility and then you can give it to her?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Norman.